Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Elle, and today I'm going to be chatting with you about some really emotional and angsty romances. So I'm just so excited for this video. One book in particular really inspired this video, or series perhaps, and that is the Boys of Tommen series. I finished Binding 13 about a week ago, and I'm destroyed. I love that book so much. I'm just like so excited, and I'm currently on the second book. I'm about 30% in, and it's just so good. So if you don't know, Binding 13 is the first book of the Boys of Tommen series, and each couple of books follows different couples. So the first two books are about Johnny and Shannon, and then the next two books are about Joey and Aoife. And so let's start with Binding 13 first. So Shannon has a very, very bad home life. Her father is very abusive, and she basically also was bullied also at her school. So now she is moving to a new school, and she's super duper nervous for her first day. And on her first day, she gets hit in the back of the head with a rugby ball. And that's when she meets Johnny, the hero, and he's the one who accidentally hit her in the head with this ball. And he is so sorry and horrified that this happened. And so that's when they first kind of meet. And Shannon's mom is hates Johnny at first because she's like, you tried to hurt my daughter, and she's like, Mom, no, that didn't, it was like a total accident. So they keep running into each other around school, and they kind of start developing a friendship, and he starts helping her out, driving her back home sometimes after school because she has to take the bus, and he is just looks out for her, and it kind of starts into this beautiful friendship, and she starts kind of letting him into her life, and it's just such a beautiful story. And Johnny is also dealing with his own problems because he is a rugby player, and I really love this book and how it showcases how hard playing a professional sport is on your body and your mental health. And this book is just incredible. I loved it. It is a very slow burn. It is very long, but it is so worth it. It's just incredible. I love this book so much, and it's very emotional because we really see the effects of day-to-day life of what Shannon's going through and the abuse in her home, and it's just so heartbreaking to see. And I just feel for her, and I am really excited to see what happens in the second book and see her kind of fight back, because she's always just never really fought back until something happens, which is kind of a spoiler. But just know this book is amazing, and I highly, highly recommend it. I do recommend, though, reading it on Kindle, because the paperbacks that I have right now, the text is so tiny that I cannot even read it. But I think the audios are also on Hoopla, so definitely go check this book out and this series out. It is absolutely incredible. I love it so much. And yeah, it's just incredible. The next book I want to talk about is The Wrong Heart by Jennifer Hartman. Oh my gosh, if you want a book that's going to absolutely destroy you, this is the book. This is the book, guys. So The Wrong Heart, our heroine, her husband died pretty tragically, and she finds out that his heart goes to another person, and she is trying to cope with her grief and her loss of basically losing the love of her life, and she decides to reach out to the person that has her husband's heart. And so she starts corresponding with this person and kind of starts creating a connection with him. But on the sideline, she starts going to this group for people who are dealing with grief, and I think it's also self-harm prevention. And she meets this guy there, and he is the grumpiest hero in the world. He does not want anybody messing with him, anybody talking to him, especially her. And they kind of start hanging out a little bit, but he is just so grumpy, and he's dealing with his own demons. And she kind of starts falling for the person who has her husband's heart, and it is very emotional because she doesn't know if this is okay. She doesn't know what's going on in her brain, and she starts like talking to the guy online, but then she's starting to fall for the hero who's very grumpy, and there's maybe a connection, and it's so good, and it deals so much with grief and moving through life after loss. And I just love this book, and it does kind of have like a cliffhanger. Well, not like cliffhanger, it has a big twist in it. I love this book, and it will destroy you, but it will be okay because your heart will repair itself at the end, and it's just incredible. So definitely go check it out. The next book I want to talk about is The Silent Waters by Brittany C. Cherry. This book is so, I listened to this audio in a day because I was like, I need to know how this is going to end. So our hero and heroine grew up together. I think her brother was like best friends with him, and so they've always been around each other in this same friend group. And so one day she decides to go out into the woods, and she was gonna have like a fake like marriage ceremony with him, just being like a kid. And she sees something happen in the woods that was really horrific and very, very traumatizing. And she gets out of that situation, but after that, she just does not speak because she is just absolutely terrified of what happened in the woods. And so now it flashes back from like the past to the present, which the present is that the hero really helped her a lot through those like demons and helping her, but he left town because he was trying to be a musician in this band. And so now he is back in town, and he is seeing the heroine again, and they kind of start up their friendship again and start a romance. And it is just so beautiful and emotional because you can still see the effects of something that happened to the heroine from when she was 7. And it's just, she still doesn't talk, and she still has told like nobody what has happened. And it is just such a beautiful story, and I just love this story so much. I remember just thinking like, this is such an emotional story, but I love it so much, and I love the ending of the story, and it is just so good. It is very, very heart-wrenching and heartbreaking, but also very beautiful. And I think you should definitely go into this one not knowing a lot, because I feel like that will spoil it for you, but just know this is top tier emotional angst, and I just love it. The next book I want to talk about is The Words by Ashley Jade. I've talked about this book a lot on my channel, but I just love this one so much, and I feel like this is a perfect book for this recommendation video. So this starts off when our two main characters are in high school. Our hero is the definition of a bad boy, and the heroine is kind of not like a good girl, but kind of, and he is really struggling in a class, and he has dyslexia, but he doesn't know it. And so the heroine is asked to help him and tutor him, and she kind of teaches him how to use different tools to help him with his dyslexia and to succeed, and he needs to pass this class to graduate. And so that's how they first kind of start hanging out together, and they start forming a friendship that blossoms into a romance. But then the hero is also a musician, and he is in a band, and she starts helping him write songs and stuff, and something happens where he really betrays her after high school and just leaves her in the dust, and she is devastated and just never wants to talk to him again. And so now it is years later, and he is a musician, and he is in a really, really bad spot. He is drinking every day, doing drugs, and just the definition of kind of a rock star. And so she is asked by his team to come and help him and to be his sober companion. And every other sober companion he's either slept with or fired, or gotten them fired. And so now she is I don't know if I want to do this, but they're going to give her a lot of money, and so she agrees to do it. And the only reason why they chose her is because they know that she hates him so much that she will not want to be with him. And so now they're kind of in the same sphere again, and he's dealing with a ton of demons, and she's dealing with her own stuff. And it is just such a great story. They both hate each other so much, but they love each other so much also, and they both do things to hurt each other. And I just love this book so much. I love it so much. It is so, so good, and it is a long book, but I literally read it in 2 days because I was like, I need to know what happens. And it's so angsty and emotional and just heart-wrenching, but also incredible and very, very spicy. So I just like recommend this book. Like, I can't recommend this book enough because it is just so, so good. Next book that I'm going to talk about is Echoes of You by Catherine Cowles. This book is another book I talk a lot about on this channel, but I just love it so much. And this one, our heroine and the hero have been best friends since childhood. They grew up in the same town together, and the heroine moves away after high school and she starts dating someone, and she ends up being engaged to him, but she kind of figures out that he is very, very abusive, and so she decides to run away back to her hometown. And that's when she sees the hero, and the hero is a cop, and she starts staying with him, but she's also kind of in hiding because she doesn't want the ex-fiance to find her. And there is a moment where in this book where she has like bruises all over her arms, and the hero is like, who did this to you? I will kill anyone who did this to you. And I just love those moments in romance books. And it is definitely friends to lovers and small town protective hero. There's a lot of suspense with her ex, and I just love this one. And I loved seeing the heroine get her strength back, and I just like love those moments in books where the heroine is like, even though she went through a really, really hard thing, she just comes back even stronger. And I just love that in books, and this book is just so good. This is one of my favorite heroes from Catherine Cowles. If you want a really, really good small town friends to lovers romance, protective hero, like one of my favorite heroes of all time, definitely go check this book out. Then one of my favorite books by Kennedy Bryan, which is Blockshot. I wanted to include in this one because I feel like it's not as popular as her other books, but I love this book. This does deal with cheating, so if that's not for you, I wouldn't read this book, but I just love it. Like, I think cheating's okay in fictional romances. Obviously, it's not okay in, you know, real life. But anyways, this book is probably one of my favorites in this series. So our hero and heroine meet in college, and the heroine is plus size, and she's kind of been like made fun of because of her size, kind of like all of college. And the hero and her become friends. They kind of are like study buddies, and the hero's in a fraternity, and he was kind of like had this bet where if he got with her, then he would be in the fraternity or something. And she was like, no, I'm not going to do that. That's like really wrong. But then they end up having a moment, and then the like fraternity sees that, and so something happens, and he really betrays the heroine, and she like doesn't want to ever talk to him anymore, even when they thought they were going to have like a kind of like a romance or a relationship. And so now it is years later, and they are both publicists like in the sports world, and she sees him again, but she's engaged. And it is like, he is like not going to take no as an answer. He knows they're meant for each other, and he is not going to stop until she is his. And it is so freaking good. I love this book. It is, the emotional aspect is that, like, you know, the cheating, but also she is taking care of somebody, and so there's caretaking in this one. And it just deals with like a lot of emotions, and I just loved this book so much. I love Kennedy Bryan. I love the hero. This book is just so good, so definitely go check it out. Last book I wanted to include in this video is The Earl Takes All by Lorraine Heath. This one is probably one of her most emotional romances, I feel like. This is a historical romance, so if you love angst and you love drama, this book is for you. And if you haven't really read historical romance, I would recommend starting with this book because it is just incredible. So this kind of starts off with our hero, and he is a twin, and so him and his twin went to like Africa, and his twin ended up dying. But the heroine is married to his brother, and she is also pregnant, and she has miscarried before, and they do not, and like the brother said to him in his last breaths, like, you need to pretend to be me so that she doesn't miscarry and can keep like the family name kind of thing and have like an heir. And so he basically goes back to England and pretends to be his dead brother. And she does not know a difference. So she like welcomes her husband back with open arms when it's really his brother. And so she like finds out eventually, but she starts falling for like him for real. And it is so good. It is so angsty and emotional because she's still grieving. I mean, when you know, so like it's just so good, and I love this romance. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it, but it is so freaking good. And she basically falls for, you know, like her dead husband's brother, and it is so good. It's so emotional, angsty, just amazing. All right, well, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed hearing some of my favorite emotional romances. Definitely down below let me know some of your favorites, or if you agree with me on some of these romances. I would love to know, and I want to thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.